Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Anton GF. My name is Anton Garcia Fernandez and I am coming to you over YouTube from the city of Jackson in the state of Tennessee in the United States of America. And today we have a video that is related to the world of Tintin, the comic book character, and also to the work of the noted Belgian comic book author Georges-Remy Hergé. It's called An English Language Bibliography about Tintin and Hergé. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about and showing some of the most important books about Tintin and Hergé that have been published in the English language. Of course, the 24 canonical albums, the 24 canonical adventures of Tintin will not be included because they are easily available in several different editions, including a young reader's edition that may appeal to the youngest of readers. What I'm going to be doing today is to divide this video into two parts. First of all, I'm going to be talking about books that were originally written in English and published in English. And then there will be a second part in which I will talk about translations into English of books that were originally written and published mainly in French. It is in French that most of the criticism about Tintin has been published and written, even though there has been some research in other languages, for example, Dutch and Spanish, for example, or Catalan. Among others. I am not going to say that I have all of these books. Most of them I actually do have in my collection, but I don't have all of them. And I don't mean to talk absolutely about all of the books that are available on Tintin in English. This is just a selection and a personal selection of that. And if there are any books that you like and that you enjoy and that you have and that somehow I'm missing, well, you can leave a comment underneath the video and let me know about that book. I may have it or not, and I'm always interested in any case in any book in any language really related to Tintin and to the work of Hergé. So let's start the video with the books that were originally written in English. And the first one is this one that I have right here. It's called Tintin, Hergé and His Creation by Harry Thompson. It's a book that was published in 1991, and it really is an excellent overview of Hergé's life and career with complete analysis of all the Tintin albums. So you get to read about Hergé's life as it relates to the work and about the work as it relates to the life. It's really thorough and highly readable, written by Harry Thompson. It says here, author of Penguins Stopped Play, because he was British. He worked on TV. He was a writer as well. And he wrote other books that were not related to Tintin in any way. But this is one of the ones that he wrote, in this case, regarding Tintin. Harry Thompson also loved cricket, which is a passion that he and I shared. He passed away back in 2005. And this book that I have in my hand is one of the very first books about Tintin written in English, if not the first. And it really is a great English language introduction to Hergé's work and Hergé's life. So I really recommend this one right here by Harry Thompson from 1991, Tintin, Hergé and His Creation. Next up, I have a fantastic book, one that you can't really be without. It's pretty big, as you can see. Tintin, the Complete Companion, from 2001 by Michael Farr. And Michael Farr, you see his name up there, is one of the best and most prolific writers on Tintin in English. This book right here, you can see beautiful cover right there, profusely illustrated study of all 24 albums, concentrating particularly on the artistic component of Hergé's work and also on the models that he often used for some of his drawings. It is a fascinating book, one that you really can't be without, like I said, because it really is interesting. It's well written. Farr actually wrote it at the same time in English and French, and this is the English version of it. And of course, it has been translated into several languages. I think, for example, the book is also available in Spanish, but this is the original English version of it. From 2001, Tintin, The Complete Companion by Michael Farr. And as you can see, I'm going to open it so you can see a little bit some of the illustrations. You can see some of the models that Hergé used to draw certain of the pictures for the books. As you can see here from the Black Island, some of the landscapes and the house up there that he based the Black Island on, and that sort of thing. So this really is a book, as I say, that's absolutely essential for any English language Tintinophile or Tintinologist. Anyone interested in Tintin who speaks English needs to have this book by Michael Farr. Another one that's in my collection that I have right here is one called Tintin and the Secret of Literature from 2007 by Tom McCarthy. Tom McCarthy is an artist and an essayist who lives in London. And this book is more of an in-depth academic study from the point of view of deconstruction and literary theory. So if you're interested in the relationship between Tintin and literature, this is the book for you. It inscribes the Tintin series within a wider literary tradition. It's a very interesting book, in my opinion, though perhaps a little too academic for the casual Tintin fan. It is great if you want to go deeper into the literary meaning and value of the series, but otherwise it might be a little too much for you. It's one of several academic-style Tintin books, or books about Tintin, that have sprouted up in the last 10 or 15 years. Tintin and the Secret of Literature by Tom McCarthy from 2007. Another book that's certainly interesting, that was originally written in English, is this one, this kind of tiny book that I have in my hand called Tintin, The Pocket Essential, from the year 2002, and written by Jean-Marc and Randy L'Officier. It was originally written in English. A pocket edition is what I have in my hand, and I think it's the only edition, really, because it's called the Pocket Essential. The idea is that it's easy to carry, with a great deal of information about Tintin, with quick facts about all 24 canonical Tintin albums. There's no illustrations. There's nothing in here, really, that you can't find on the internet, but it is very convenient when trying to find specific data about each one of the albums, and I use it for that purpose when I'm preparing any of my videos that I do in Spanish on this channel about each one of the Tintin albums. So the Pocket Essential, not the greatest cover right there, as you can see, but a very handy book by Jean-Marc and Randy L'Officier. And besides these four that I have shown, there are a few others that you can find, but unfortunately I don't have them yet. Both of them I have ordered, and I'm hoping to add to my collection soon. But I'll tell you a little bit about them. One of them is called An Illustrated History of Hergé's Aircraft, from Tintin to Joe, Zette, and Jocko. This is from 2019, so just a few months ago. It was published and written by Frank Griese and Richard Humberstone. Not sure that I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, Frank Griese or Griese, but in any case, it's an illustrated study of aircraft as it appears in Hergé's graphic works. It talks about all types of aircrafts of all kinds, from the beginning of Hergé's career to the very end, and it puts all these aircrafts in their historical context. There's also a French edition of this book, French translation, but I believe it was originally written in English by Frank Griese and Richard Humberstone, and it's called An Illustrated History of Hergé's Aircraft. Another one that I'm hoping to receive soon is one entitled The Comics of Hergé When the Lines Are Not So Clear, from the year 2016, just about 4 years ago, edited by Joe Sutcliffe Sanders, and actually published by the University Press of Mississippi. So that gives you an idea that this is yet another academic study about Hergé's work at large. It features essays by different scholars, so some of them by Sutcliffe Sanders, who also writes an introduction. And then there are other contributions from a variegated group of scholars on a wide variety of subjects, also from a wide variety of critical perspectives. Just think that this has been published by the University Press of Mississippi within their Critical Approaches to Comics Artists series. So we're talking here about an academic study, a scholarly study, another one of a few that have appeared, as I say, in the last 10 or 15 years. Now, this is basically the legacy of cultural studies at American universities. Seemed to be a very popular trend in the last few decades, and of course in some departments of French, departments of art, even departments of English, departments of literature. Some professors are beginning to take note of Hergé and Tintin, and studying Hergé and Tintin from mostly a cultural studies approach. Anything that comes out about Tintin and Hergé is interesting to me, and so this is a book that I have ordered because I think it's going to be interesting, even though, again, it's a book that will be more interesting perhaps for people who are more into the deeper meaning of Hergé's work, into a more academic approach to Tintin and comic books in general, and the work of Hergé in particular. As you can see, there are not really a lot of books originally written in English about Tintin and Hergé, although there are some good ones, and lately more and more have been appearing, and we hope that in the future there'll be more to come. We should move then to the second part of this video, which deals with the highest number of books, and those are the translations, mostly from French into English. There are quite a few of books that were originally written in French and that have been translated into English about Tintin and about Hergé, about his work and his life in general. And this is simply a selection from my collection of some that I consider to be interesting. And of course, there are others that I may get to in later videos and that you can find in online retailers fairly easily. But I'm only choosing a few that I think are significant and that I think are important. And so I want to talk about these. First of all, a couple of biographies. The first one right here in my hand is a fantastic biography of Hergé. It's called Hergé, the Man Who Created Tintin. There he is, drawing Tintin on the cover, from 1996, but translated in the year 2009. It's a book by the one and only, and you really have to call him that, Pierre Assouline, a French writer and journalist who is also a fine biographer. This is one of the best and most detailed biographies of Hergé. It's essential if you want to understand the man and the artist. A lot of other writers have very clearly read this biography when preparing their own works. This is really a classic work regarding Hergé and Tintin. It's thoroughly researched, very well written, and this is yet another one that you can't be without. The Man Who Created Tintin, Hergé, The Man Who Created Tintin, by Pierre Assouline, fortunately translated in the year 2009, and it says in the back, timed to coincide with Steven Spielberg's long-awaited film, The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. It is the first full biography of Hergé available for an English-speaking audience, and that is true. And as such, you really need to have it. Very interesting read here from Pierre Assouline. Now, my personal favorite when it comes to Hergé biographies is the one that I'm going to show now. This is the hardcover edition of it. Hergé, son of Tintin, fils de Tintin, on the original, in the original French, by Benoît Peeters. Benoît Peeters is from Belgium. He is one of the most renowned Tintin experts, Tintinologists in the world, with a very prolific bibliography, not only on Tintin, but on comic books in general. But he definitely is my favorite writer about Tintin for many reasons, and this is one of his best works. Hergé, son of Tintin, a thorough, fascinating study of Hergé's life and career, using personal letters, using all sorts of documents that Benoît Peeters was made privy to. And it is also, in my opinion, together with the Assouline biography that I just showed, but the best biography of Hergé, from my point of view, available in any language is this one right here, which has been translated into several different languages, originally written in French by Benoît Peeters. Hergé, son of Tintin. I read and reread this one. I go back to it several times. I have the original French, and here is the English translation of this fantastic work that every Tintinophile or Tintinologist needs to read. It's Tintin 101, if you will. Those are two biographies that are good for any English speaker to get into the world of Tintin, into learning more about the life of Hergé, learning more about his work. And then there are also studies that were originally written in French and then translated into English. Here's yet another one from Benoît Peeters, another really good entry in his bibliography about Hergé and Tintin. Tintin and the World of Hergé, an Illustrated History by Benoît Peeters. And as you can see on the cover there, it is illustrated. It is an illustrated study of all Tintin albums, really readable, written in Peeters' inimitable style. I've read so much of Peeters' work that I can always tell if it's Peeters that has written a specific text about Tintin. That's how good he is. And on here, he also talks briefly about other characters by Hergé. For example, Josette and Jocko, Popol et Virginie, and several other, Quick and Flupke, some of the other characters that Hergé created, but most of all it concentrates, as you can see on the cover there, from the title, on the universe of Tintin, Tintin and the World of Hergé by Benoît Peeters. This is absolutely essential reading, and again I'm going to open it a little bit so that you can see. Well, that's the broken ear right there, so you can see how well illustrated it is. It's got a lot of text as well, but very interesting drawings there and documents that Benoît Peeters had access to. Some of them in French, as you can see there, but the book, originally written in French, has been translated into English. I believe the book is from 1988, and it was translated into English that's a pretty nice one right there, from Land of Black Gold. It was translated into English 4 years later in 1992. Absolutely essential to read again, Tintin and the World of Hergé, which I believe I also have in Spanish, but I don't think I have the original French version of this, although it's, of course, available in French as well. Tintin and the World of Hergé by Benoît Peeters. The next one up is a thick book, again, and really well illustrated as well. Tintin, Hergé's Masterpiece by Pierre Sterckx. Pierre Sterckx is a Belgian art critic who was friends with Hergé, who was an advisor to Hergé, who was also the curator of the renowned Tintin exhibition, which was really a trailblazing exhibition called the Imaginary Museum of Tintin. I believe there's also a book, although I don't think it was published in English. I could be wrong about that, but there was also a book that I think I have in Spanish that came out of that trailblazing, pioneering exhibition about Tintin. But this is not it. This is Tintin Hergé's masterpiece, a profusely illustrated study, again, that looks at the evolution of Hergé's art over the years. Remember that Sterckx is an art critic, so he's going to look at Tintin from the point of view of art history, and does a great job here. If I open the book, you will see that there's a lot more illustrations than text. You know, some examples. There's quite a bit of text there, but there's the Thompsons. That's from the Black Island, if I'm not mistaken. Well, anyway, you can get an idea about how this book, which is actually quite heavy, been holding it up for a bit, by Pierre Sterckx. There's more illustrations than text, but the text is interesting as well because Sterckx is always a very insightful critic. It doesn't matter if he's talking about Hergé or about Vermeer or about some other artist, but he definitely is a good writer. He knows what he's talking about, and this is an interesting book if you can find it. Interestingly, the book was written by Pierre Sterckx, but it was translated into English by none other than Michael Farr. It does say that inside. It was translated by Michael Farr, who has done a lot of work on Tintin, not only his own books, but also as a translator of other people's books, which, you know, is important. The work of Michael Farr has been very important for English language Tintin criticism, not just because of the works he's written, but also because of his translation, or translations, I should say. He's translated more books than that one right there. The next one up is this one right here, a classic study, originally in French, which was translated into English as the Metamorphosis of Tintin, or Tintin for Adults. Going back to the year of 1984, although it was translated and published in English in 2010, a book by Jean-Marie Apostolidès, who was a professor of French and drama at Stanford University here in the United States of America. This is a book that was translated by Jocelyn Hoy and was published by Stanford University Press. Yet another academic scholarly approach to Tintin that may not be for everybody, but that I find very interesting. It's a pioneering work because it was among the very first studies about Tintin ever published back in the mid-1980s. Of course, Apostolidès takes a mostly psychoanalytical approach, which is possibly not my favorite. But he does shed light on issues such as fetishism, drugs, sexuality, religion, and many, many others. As I said, it's an interesting book, but again, not ideal for all sorts of readers. It goes deep into theory, into psychoanalysis in some cases. Some of the things that Apostolidès says, I think, are a little bit far-fetched. But in general, it's a good addition to the collection of anyone who's really seriously interested in Tintin. And we have it in French. And of course, it's also available. It has been for the past 10 years in English as well. The Metamorphosis of Tintin, or Tintin for Adults. The idea that Tintin is a comic book for kids, and only for kids, is easily dispelled. That myth is easily dispelled in a book like that, and well, many other books argue that. And that's not the only thing, of course, that Apostolidès is arguing here. He uses Tintin as the basis for some serious psychoanalytical study of the different adventures in the Tintin canon. And finally, like I said, there are many other books about Tintin in English. I'm sure you'll find others that I have left out, some of them on purpose, some of them because I just don't either own them or have ever heard of them. But if there are any, let me know in the comments section of this book. This is the last one I'm going to show you, one called Hergé in His Own Words from 2008 by Dominique Maric. This one was published by the Édition Moulinsart, and it's really an all too short collection of quotes by Hergé translated into English. It is too slim at just 63 pages, but it is useful nonetheless because it does feature some comments by Hergé culled from different interviews throughout the years. Again, I wish it had been a little longer. I wish it had more content to it. But it is especially interesting to have this in English because Hergé's conversations with Numa Sadoul from the early 1970s, as far as I know, are not yet available in English. I have those really important conversations between Hergé and Numa Sadoul in the original French and also in Spanish. I do have them. I have read them many times over. I know that there's even an edition in Catalan, I believe, but as far as I know, as far as I am aware, they have not been published in English. So hopefully at some point they will be translated into English. And again, if you are aware of any English language edition of those interviews with Hergé that Numa Sadoul conducted in the early 1970s, let me know because I don't know of any English translation of those really interesting interviews. And so this book that I have in my hand by Dominique Maric, Hergé in His Own Words, is the only book that we have in the way of interviews with the creator of Tintin in English. And this book takes us to the very end of this video, which I have called An English Language Bibliography about Tintin and Hergé. I really hope that you found this video interesting, and if you're interested in Tintin and Hergé and you don't have some of those books, well, all of them for their own different reasons are interesting and are really recommendable. And if there's any other that you have and that you enjoy and that maybe I'm not aware of or maybe I have omitted from this video, make sure to leave a message in the comments section underneath this video, and I'll be very happy to read it. For now, thank you so much for your attention. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Anton Garcia Fernandez. Mine is the copyright of this video, which was recorded in the month of March, year 2020, in the city of Jackson in the state of Tennessee in the United States of America. You can watch it on my YouTube channel, Anton GF. Thank you so much for everything, and so long, everybody.